All right, TLF fam, here with resident coach Nicholas Hall. About to go over how to do the bench press, powerlifting style today. So this is probably one of the best ways to keep your shoulder safe. A lot of times we do bodybuilding style and we're kind of prone to hurting ourselves. Unless we have explored all ranges of motion and improved the shoulder and the back and the neck and the spine, then this version is probably the best suited for you. So we're going to go over how to set up for the lift first. Now he's going to lay back on the bench right now. And the first thing we have to go over is a setup. And that is going to be 80 to 90% of this lift. If you don't get the setup down, you're going to lose and leak power. So he's going to first try to get his lats in the right position. He can use the bar if he wants, or he can use a rig like he's doing to set his lats. Grab it on, and he's pulling his shoulder blades, namely down to his hip pocket, but also in together. He's retracting them tight, creating this nice little back arch you see right here, okay? And he's already naturally kind of driving his feet into the ground a little bit and squeezing his butt a tad bit, almost like he's twisting the floor, just like he does for squats and deads. And once he gets the position, he'll grab the bar to reinforce the position. So he's using it to kind of break the bar a little bit. He's kind of doing that braking action at the bar, and it's helping him set his lats. The braking of the bar is to help you move your lats down more. You're not just breaking the bar for the sake of breaking it. Okay, so he does that. Now, if you're gonna come off the rack, he's gonna pull it off the rack. There you go, he's gonna pull, almost like a dumbbell pullover, and he reinforces all of his braces. I'll go ahead and re-rack that bar for me. Okay, so one thing to definitely look at, I'm gonna post a link to the video of how to unrack with a spotter. It's very important to understand how to communicate to your spotter when you're ready, when your lats are tight, when your abs are engaged, and they just guide the bar off the rack. But for now, we're gonna just show it to you as if he has a spotter. So he's gonna go ahead and get set up again. He's setting his lats tight, everything's on. He gets the bar, starts breaking it. He pulls it off the rack, and then when he's ready, he's gonna take his deep brace, and then he's gonna start to break the bar, pull that bar into his chest. When he hits, he drives through his legs, and he presses up again. Do about 4 more. I'm just gonna show them kind of a different view. Pulls, and he presses. He goes again, pulls, and he presses. Good. And relax it back. All right, so part 2, before we go into how to brace properly, coming off the rack and bracing as you descend, we're gonna just talk about where to place the bar, like what bar height is appropriate for you in order to properly keep your lats pinned without you losing lat position. So, for example, say this was too high for him. Say the J hooks here were too high. If he has to try to get over, so he presses up, get over that J hook and lose his shoulder position, start shaking around like that, that's probably not the right height for you. Go ahead and re-rack. It needs to be in a position where you can ideally just pull it off the rack like a dumbbell pullover, and you're able to still maintain lat position. So you see him here, he's pulling it off the rack, and he can still keep his lats packed down to his hip pocket and retracted into the bench. That's very, very important. Okay, now the other important thing about benching is understanding how to cue your bracing in with all these positional cues, right? So what he's going to do is he's gonna first get his position again. You're gonna watch that bracing video, bracing for compound lifts, that I'm gonna post in the description below. And in the context of benching, he's gonna take his big breath here. He's gonna reinforce his lats, his obliques, and he pulls it off the rack, and then he lets his air out for a second. But he's still staying tight to some degree. Now he takes his bracing breath again, big breath. Then he locks his lats, and he pulls it into himself, engaging his obliques harder and harder, and then he drives through his legs and he presses the weight. He's gonna do it again. Notice he is tensing up on the way down. He's reinforcing his braces, and he presses up. 2 more times. So he's tensioning up harder and harder through his lats, and then also harder and harder through his obliques. That connection is so key. Good. And then he racks it up again. Okay, now that we understand bracing in the context of this lift, both on the setup and on the descent, we're also going to talk about hand position first. And hand positioning is kind of dependent on you a little bit, on your leverages and on your morphology. But basically you want to find a position where you can get your lats tight. So say that Nick goes really close with his hands, like really, really close. And then he tries to break the bar here. Nick, can you get your lats to fire as well?
It's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird, right? Now, if he goes a little wider here, about maybe thumb length apart, wherever he was earlier, that seems to be now a better place where you can create lat connection. How does that feel?
Better.
Better, right? Now, I do want to preface it with this. If Nicholas went back in, at some point, if he were to create range of motion here and get really good at this range, he should be able to create lat connection. But right now, he's not. Now he's got it, right? So there you go. He's got it now. He's got engagement. Now say he went closer. Now try. Still got it? Go closer again. Still got it? Cool. He's gonna go back out to his optimal bench position right there. Boom. Now he's gonna create lat position here. And he's gonna come off the rack. So right about thumb length apart from the seam seems to be the best place for most people. If you don't have the shoulder mobility, you may need to go wider. Go and re-rack. I'm not going to show you the wider position quite yet. If you are a really tall individual, you might want to go maybe like to those seams over there. And that's where you create your lat connection there. And he pulls off the rack here. And then he does his thing. And for him, that's just probably too excessive. But he can still do it, and he can go ahead and re-rack there. But it's wherever you can create connection the best for yourself. Is it important to train in all those ranges? Yes, but for most people, about thumb length apart will do the trick. Okay, now as you've probably seen with bracing, you saw how he was able to connect his lats to his obliques, and that was able to tie his lats down harder. If his obliques didn't fire with his lats, he's gonna be a little looser. Let's see if we can get this in the video. So say he just tied his lats down, and now tie your lats and obliques together. You can see how much more solid that is. And now he's gonna come off the rack. And now let go of the obliques and just do your lats. And pull that down.
Pull the weight down?
The bar, yep. Looks a little shaky. And now he's gonna do it with the obliques. Now it's solid. Now, go ahead and rack the bar. Now you can see how important the obliques and the midline in general, like the obliques, the pelvic floor, all that's important for his lats to stay down. Now it's also important for his glutes to be able to fire as well. Okay, so now I want you to go ahead and get the bar off. And then drive your lats together, but don't worry about the obliques. Don't worry about the abs too much. And then try to come down. And then try to push with your legs. It felt a little shaky, right? Now I want him to do a deep breath. Lats, obliques, pulls, and his knees naturally go out. He's gonna pull all the way down now. And then he's gonna press up with his legs, boom, and back on the rack. So as you can tell there, when he got his obliques and his midline all engaged, both his upper half and his lower half could communicate with each other and create tension. Okay, so he was pulling himself down into his chest. As he was about to press, his legs drove him to the ground, and that actually helped him reinforce his back further into the bench. Okay, so they operate as a unit. If his feet are not driving down, he won't be able to get his lats down as hard as he wants to, and vice versa. They all have to happen together. But what is the tie-in? The obliques, the midline. Okay, so we do it one more time so you can see his sequencing. So he's gonna get set up. He's already gonna set his lats where he wants it to be. And then when he's already kind of pre-tensing, yeah, he pulls off the rack. He takes a deep breath here. He locks it in. He pulls down. Boom, his legs fire. Presses up. Do it 2 more times. Locks it in. Boom. 1 more time. Got it. And he re-racks it on the rack. Okay, so those are the main cues for bench press when you put it all together. Now, some things we commonly see with people coming off the rack is they press their shoulders up and forward. So I'm going to show you that right now with Nick here. He's already lost position. Now, if he tries to recover it, it's a little hard to get down versus trying to get it set early. Go and re-rack it. That's one error. Now, the second error, say he gets everything tight, go and get everything solid like you normally would. He comes off the rack really well. Now, as he comes down, pulls down, say he loses connection, he just gives up right here with his lats. He just lets it drop. See his elbows flare out? When his elbows flare now as he presses, go and press, he's losing connection and stability from his obliques, from his glutes, from his mid-back. Go and rack it there. So it's important to keep your lats tied in all the way to the bottom of the lift. Very, very important. Second thing, go ahead and come off again. He gets his lats tight, he comes off, and then he just says, F it, forget the lats, and then he starts to just bring it down passively. See how the elbows just chill out, now he presses back up, and then his shoulders and his delts get into the movement. Go and re-rack. Those are the main mistakes we see, so it's important to keep your tie-in really important. Your lat tie-in, your oblique tie-in, and your glute tie-in. And that's it. That's how you do a bench press, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have questions, please hit comment and comment with your comments. And if you like the video, hit like. And if you really enjoyed it, hit subscribe. Until next time, peace.